Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm here to work on December daily days 11 through 15. So I really liked doing 2 days at a time. That just has felt more productive, like sitting down to work on this project. As much as I love doing it every single day, and I wouldn't want to wait till the end of the month to do all of them, I do like doing 2 days at a time. It just feels good. So I am sitting down to do day 11 and 12 here. So day 11, I tell the story about us spending time on Zoom with our family. So we had 2 family Zooms that night, one with my family for my brother's birthday, and then one with Sam's family for Hanukkah, which is the picture that I snapped here of our Zoom with Sam's family. I really like this one because it included his grandfather, and it just felt like something would be nice to have documented. So I pulled out this card that says, "Here's the story," and then this little chipboard piece with a quote on it. I use the white number for the 11, although I play around a little bit with this rectangle. I really just like those pleather rectangles, but I haven't used one since the beginning, and I still have 2 more to go. But now I'm just trying to figure out what kind of decorative element I want here besides just the number and that little circle. The circle says, "It is not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving." And I just felt like that circle really encompassed spending the holidays on Zoom this year. So I definitely wanted to use the circle, but really trying to figure out what else I want to include. So I end up pulling out this red chipboard heart because it's the same red as the circle, and then this other little metal heart, and just trying to figure out what the order is between all those different pieces. And I eventually figure out how I want to stick them down. So I go ahead and put them down on the photo. So I put the little circle down, and then the numbers. I really wish the numbers already had sticky on the back, but it is what it is. And then I put the hearts on the "Here's the Story" page. And then I go ahead and write out the story talking about how we had 2 Zoom calls. And while I am doing that, I actually spell the word "to" wrong. And so I go dig out this little chipboard number 2 piece that I don't really like using those chipboard numbers. They're just so small. I don't like using them as the numbers that define the day. I did a little bit in last year's album, but I really haven't used them at all this year because they're just so tiny. But it worked perfectly to cover up my misspelling of the number 2 on that card. So I just finished telling the story of who all we spent the holidays with, and I was really explicit. Like, I wrote out the names of who was on the Zoom, so it would always be there for us to remember. So that is day 11. Then I flip it over and work on day 12. So for day 12, I'm actually doing 2 different stories. The 12th just had a lot going on, and I really wanted to document both pieces of it. So on the left side, I have a photo of the Zoom from my Patreon goal action plan workshop, and it was just such an incredible morning for me, and just moment that I wanted to make sure that I snapped and documented. And then on the right side, I am putting pictures of us celebrating the day that we lost my Mima. So I'm really glad I was able to spend that day with my mom, and we had tea and we had gin and tonics, and we just really spent the day talking about memories of her and thinking about how lucky we were to have her for as long as we did. So I have 3 photos that are part of this. I have 2 3x4 photos, one of the tea and one of the gin. And so I'm working on 2 other 3x4 things to go in the other pockets, because there's 4 3x4 pockets. So one of them, I'm going to do those hearts. Her favorite color was green, so I know I wanted to incorporate some green. So I have that star background, and then I have the black and the green hearts. And now I'm looking for a much darker 3x4. I want something that's really dark so that I can use those white letters and write out "Miss You, Mima" with those white letters. So I'm cutting down the paper so that they are 3x4. And I'm using that dark green paper on both sides of the kind of the layout. So I'm using one piece of it in 4x6 with that big felt 12 on it on the left side, and then I'm using a piece of it in 3x4 on the right side. So it kind of ties the whole day in together, even though I'm telling 2 very different stories about that day. I know sometimes Allie will just save the stories for later days instead of doing 2 on one day and just have it be on a different day, but I don't know, I just really want to include them both. So now I'm trying to find a little sentiment to put on the Zoom picture of the Patreon call, and then I add this little square and write down what it is. I don't really write much about it. I talk about it more in the vlog, but I decided just to have it documented so I knew what the picture was. So that's the left side. And then on the right side, again, I have the 2 photos of the drinks, and then I have the 2 4x6 colored papers. And so I'm going to add "Miss You, Mima" on the darker one. But what I want to do is I plan to just hole punch that 4x6 card that says "This season isn't always merry and bright" into the album directly and not put it inside of a page protector. And so what I want to do is have just the word Mima stick out from the bottom. So I was trying to measure that a little bit. So I staple the hearts on to their card, and now I am putting a photo of my mom and I on the back of that little 4x6 that says "The season isn't always so merry and bright." As soon as I saw that card in the kit, I knew I was going to use it on this day. So then as I realized when I'm going to punch the holes, that you're going to be able to see the words miss at the end of "miss" and "you." So I scoot them over to the left because I really, again, only want you to be able to see the word Mima when it is inside the album. So that is how it ends up. And then another 2-day spread. So I am doing days 13 and 14 here. Day 13 was a Sunday, and we ended up falling asleep on the couch, taking a nap, and I woke up and Sam was still asleep. So I grabbed my phone and took that picture of us. Obviously, I'm awake taking the picture, but Sam is still asleep, and I was asleep on him 5 seconds before I took that photo. So I end up using a 4x6 photo, but then cutting it in half to fit into those 3x4 pockets. And then the other story that I'm telling on the other side from Monday was working on the holiday card. So this ended up in my album last year, whatever day I worked on them. And it works out that whatever day I work on them, I try to take a self-timer photo of me working on them. And then at the same time, I will include this pouch. It's an add-on that you can get from Ali Edwards. And then I will put all the cards that we receive in that pouch. So on the left side, it's the nap, and I pull in that green stripe and then this little "Love These Moments" card. And then on the right side is me working on the cards. I did that in a full 6x8 photo. So on the nap side, I end up using this clear 13. This is actually from a last year's set. I'm not quite sure where I want to put it, what other embellishments I want on this page, because part of it feels a little bit busy, but then part of it feels like I need more stuff. So I'm going through all my embellishments, trying to find something that kind of fits the sentiment and fits what we were doing, which was literally taking a Sunday afternoon nap. Again, trying with those pleather pieces, decide that it's a little bit too much. I end up putting them away. I pull out a bunch of different stars. I pull out a bunch of different hearts. I really cannot make up my mind here what I want to include. But I end up pulling this little metal red heart. I felt like the red just kind of popped with the red from Sam's shirt and the red from the word "love," and I felt like it just worked there. And then on the other side, I end up pulling in the stars. So I use these little plastic stars. I don't know if they're vellum or plastic, but these little plastic stars, they're all the same size in 3 different colors, and those end up being on the other side. And then I find this little cozy, these little fabric pieces. One says cozy, which just felt perfect. And then there was a fabric piece that had the green stripes, and I thought that was just also perfect. It kind of pulled that in. So I end up putting those down on the picture, and I switch the green striped card to not be above me so that those green stripes are a little bit more diagonal and right on top of each other, if that makes sense. So I staple the 13, add the little red heart, and then that is all for that side. I don't even actually write a note about our nap. I just say we're taking a nap. So for our holiday card, I decided to go ahead and stick it with red line tape to the back of this pouch. Last year, there was stuff on the front and back of our card, so I hole punched it and stuck it in the album. This year, since there wasn't anything on the back, I decided to just kind of have it stuck there on the back of that pocket. And again, I will add in all the holiday cards that we get over the course of the season and put them into that pocket. So now I'm stapling the little plastic stars on to the photo of me working on the cards. I don't end up doing any journaling about this one either. I don't know if I just felt like these photos spoke for themselves, or I didn't really feel like writing anything like, oh, I worked on the cards. But I do love how these 2 pages turned out. And then the last part of this video is day 15, which is the photo of my mom and I doing lattes with Laken. I'm so glad that my mom joined. So I'm trying to find a full 6x8 paper to do on the back side of that full 6x8 photo. I originally was going to do one of those quotes. I just really love those full quotes, but none of the colors I have left in the quotes really went with the picture of me and my mom. So I end up pulling this big 6x8 fa la 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 la, and now I'm trying to figure out what to do on the other side. I really love the way that the silver popped on this photo. So I love that silver 15, but now I have to figure out what to put on the top part of that page protector for the 2 3x4 sections. So I end up pulling out this 6x8 red card that I'm going to cut down because, again, the red just matches the follow law from the other side. And then here's the story page to actually allow me space to write. I do wish there were some more of these like actual space to write cards in the kit sometimes. Sometimes I don't feel like I have enough. And that's, I don't know. That's why I wish I did do digital and I printed stuff out. But since I don't have a printer right now, that's not really an option. Maybe someday in the future. So now I'm trying to figure out what other embellishments I want to put on both that red piece and then maybe something on the Fa La La side. It's really tough to find something that stands out against these patterns, but is it too much? Because there's already a lot going on. And so I go through a lot of different iterations. I try out a lot of different things. But again, it all just feels a little bit too busy. Anything with words ends up feeling like it's a little bit too much. And as much as I love that gold give love there, I end up deciding that I don't like having the gold there with the silver 15 on the photo. I just don't like mixing metals. My mom and I actually always talk about that because she will do it like between purses and jewelry and shoes and whatnot. When we left the house, she would mix metals all the time, and I just don't like mixing metals. So I end up deciding to do kind of this star collage on the Fa La La side. You can't see it right now, but I'm playing around with a bunch of different stars, trying to figure out kind of where they should go and which stars I should use. Again, something simple is the only thing that ended up really working on that big patterned page. And that 6x8 page honestly ends up just being more decorative than anything. Like, I don't end up having any sentiments, any journaling. It just kind of is the back of that full 6x8 photo. Sometimes I feel like that's a little bit of a waste, but at the end of the day, oh well. I like how it turned out, even if I did feel like I wasted a whole side of a page. I didn't want to put that photo of my mom and I like in the middle of that page, if that makes sense. So I end up going with just one simple star on the other side to kind of balance out all the stars that I have on the Fa La La page and just keeping it overall kind of simple. I know some of you have expressed interest in doing this next year, and I hope that these videos help you realize that it doesn't have to be like super complicated and crafty. In fact, like you don't even need any of these embellishments. Like the biggest pieces of the project are having photos of this time of year and writing things out and documenting what you did and what actually happened. And this time of year can be so busy that I don't want you to feel overwhelmed like you could not participate because you have so much going on. Because if you keep it pretty simple, it doesn't need to take more than 5 to 10 minutes each day. I probably take a little bit more, closer to 10 to 15 minutes a day, but I do a little bit more embellishing. But the most important thing, like I said, are the photos and the story. So it turns out that 4x6 photo actually goes on top. I didn't realize I had page protectors in that configuration. So then I end up writing out the story on the card about my mom joining me for Lattes with Laken and how much I enjoyed y'all being able to meet her in just a different capacity. I mean, I can talk about my mom all day long, but having her there live really does make a difference. So that is going to be it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Happy planning!